That's it. Good evening, 6:30 PM, August 24th, 2026. I call the Select Board regular meeting to order. If you are able, please join us, stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. As a reminder, this meeting is being broadcast live on TCTV Cable Station 8 and on YouTube web platform. A recording will be available on TCTV YouTube channel at the conclusion of this meeting. Is anyone else recording the meeting? And at this time, would anyone please silence your phones? Public participation will be limited to citizen input, a maximum of 3 minutes per person with a time limit of 21 minutes so as to be fair to all. The board does not enter into discussion, debate, or dialogue within individuals during citizen input. This meeting is governed by the Massachusetts Open Meeting Law and the Select Board policy. At this time, I would inform the board another unpleasant duty from the librarian and the senior center announced the passing of Irene Murray. The statement from Jackie: it's with profound sadness and broken hearts we announce the sudden and tragic passing of Irene Kadieski Murray, age 75, Baldwinville, Massachusetts, on August 18th, 2026. She was volunteered on the Council of Aging in Templeton, the Baldwinville Senior Center. She was involved in her community at the Senior Center, Historical Society, and the Women's Auxiliary at Baldwinville American Legion. So at this time, I would ask for a moment of silence for Irene. Thank you. First item on the agenda is approval of meeting minutes of July 14th, July 27th, and August 4th, 2026. At this time, I would move to approve the meeting minutes of July 14th, July 27th, and August 4th, 2026 as presented.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any issues with the minutes?
Yes, July 27th, 2026. Resident's last name is spelled wrong, Richard Payne. It's spelled Payne. It should be Paine.
Check. Any other issues with minutes? Hearing none on the motion, how would you vote? Mr. May?
Yes.
Ms. Graves?
Yes.
Mr. Toth?
Yes.
Ms. Cover?
Yes.
Mr. Bennett is yes. No executive session meeting minutes. Next item up is citizen input. Do we have anyone who wishes to speak? Mr. Vogel?
First of all, I want to say how much I love each and every one of you. I was very impressed by the August 17th meeting in which how you conducted yourselves. You were opposed in many ways to different things that were discussed, but yet by the end of the meeting, you came to a consensus, and that's really good government. And sometimes I don't think people realize just how much it takes to serve and to get criticized. As I said in an email to all of you, you could get $1 billion grant and somebody would complain that it wasn't $2 billion. So sometimes it's a thankless job. So I want to thank you guys for that. And also, while I'm at it, The town administrator, you need to clone him. He's been very busy. Cloning is a scientific option that should be explored by the town. I would expect some grant funding. But in the meantime, I ask you all to treat him with kindness because this whole override thing has got him stressed. And on the subject of the override, I'm in favor of the override, not because I like taxes. I hate taxes. When my property tax bill comes in the mail, I never like it. But what I do like is the character of Templeton. And I like what's been done with Templeton. And I don't want to have the public safety completely degraded. I don't want to have the Parks Department, the Highway Department, the Fire Department degraded. I want to have a strong library. And I want to have a town that property owners can call their home and actually be able to sell their property for what it's worth. I've done some studies. And did you know that in cases where an override has failed, there was a specific case, it was actually in Oakland, California, property values fell 15%. So for example, on the $378,000 home that is actually quoted in the figures, in which people might spend, I think it's $439 or something for the year. If the override is not approved, that $378,000 home is likely to fall to a value of $328,000 in 5 years. You would have spent a couple of grand on the override, maybe 2 or 3 because things go up a little bit, but you would have lost 50 grand if you didn't approve the override. So even if you can't stand the subject of paying taxes, even if you don't like the idea, even if you have all kinds of reasons against it, I say vote your self-interest, vote for the override on September 28th. It's the right thing to do. And by the way, your police and fire and all the other folks will thank you for it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Colby.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Good.
Gail Noel, Water Wheel Circle. So yes, I did write to our representatives and I did receive an answer. You know, yes, they understand. But being a government agency takes time. And people have to understand that the school district is its own little town, its own little village. And they have their expenses and their income. And then there's the town. And we have ours, but our income limits are limited. You know, there has been progress on Chapter 70, but not enough. The FY 27 budget provides a minimum aid increase of 160 per student, so that's a little bit of help. Last year, Narragansett received $324,000 in rural aid. You know, so their income went up. So it's just little things like that. And our representatives have asked for better rural coverage, and they were defeated, especially on the transportation issue. So we're trying.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Gail.
Thank you for your hard work.
Nothing further. Next item on the agenda would be town administrator comments.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So override communication update. We updated the website. It's live, includes frequently asked questions, an estimate for how much it'll be for the average single-family home tax bill. There is a DOR calculator to get an idea if you want to see how much your particular home may cost you if an override is approved. So you can type in some information there and it gives you some information, but all these are estimates, I should point out. There's also a detailed timeline and explanation of the override and potential cuts on the website and a number of budget-related documents. I also submitted a press release to the Gardner News and the Gardner Magazine, which is a pared-down version of the website explanation, and a one-page flyer to the light department. However, I just found out that they will not be able to send that out with their next bill because they also have a flyer going out related to their new system. So I sent it over to Jeff Aldridge at the sewer department to see if it can go out with those bills. Let me see what else. We've also done some social media posts. Jill's done multiple already. Thank you, April, for the graphic. And so we're hoping more posting comes up in more feeds. And I'm working with staff currently to plan several informational meetings. The first one is tomorrow night at 6 p.m. if people want to come and listen and ask questions. And there'll be more to come on that on the website. And so I keep pushing people to the website so we can keep people updated as more information becomes available. We interviewed candidates for the assistant town clerk position. Once she starts, I'll announce her name, but for all I know, she might not show up the first day, so we're just waiting for that. But we interviewed several people. The candidate we chose has a strong human resources background and was really impressive in the interview, where she demonstrated a lot of the right instincts for the position. Her first day of work is Monday, August 31st, and I want to thank Carol Harris and Justice Graves, who were part of the interview committee and whose feedback was crucial in choosing what I believe to be the right candidate for the town. Tomorrow I'll be meeting with the DPS director and our staff person from Ty and Bond to receive a refresher on the Main Street Bridge. And depending on the outcome tonight of the later agenda item, we'll talk about next steps. This will give the DPS director a chance to get up to speed on this project. And that is my report for tonight. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, can I ask James a question? Well, kind of a thing. On the town website, could we do something on how people can, register and then they can get the town news thing? Sent to your email account, like when the executive assistant sends or you update that line, I get it because I signed up, so I know. Could we do an advertisement
If you want to advertise
on that feature? Yes,
Yeah,
yes, on that feature.
Yeah, I can.
Because that would be helpful with the override, so if more people could sign up for that, like Code Red, then they can get more information. A lot of people might not know. I know it says to register, but they might not know there's actually, you can pick town, to get the town news.
Yep,
Yeah,
we can advertise that.
thank you, I appreciate it.
The next item on the agenda is a public hearing. And as this will work, I will make a motion and the board will vote to open the public hearing. There will be a presentation by the applicants or the sponsors. There will be opportunity for anyone in favor of it to speak, give a statement. Then there will be an opportunity for statements or questions for anyone opposing it. And then any town board or staff will have any recommendations or statement. And finally, there will be a time for the applicant to respond to any questions or make any closing statements. And then the board will vote to close the public hearing and then debate on the subject of the public hearing. At this time, I move to open the public hearing to consider application for the transfer of the annual all alcoholic on-premises restaurant license and common victual license from A1 Family Group LLC doing business as Long Long Noodles to Silk Road Bites Incorporated Long Long Noodles located at 9 Central Street, Baldwinville, Mass. 01436.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none on the motion, how would you vote, Mr. May?
Yes.
Ms. Graves?
Yes.
Mr. Toth?
Yes.
Ms. Cover?
Yes.
Mr. Bennett is yes. And public hearing is open and the respondents and the applicant are via Zoom.
Yes, good evening. My name is Mei Hui Hu. I represent the applicant Silk Road Bites, Inc. The proposed manager, Ying Lin, is also on Zoom here today. Silk Road Bites, Inc. Will carry on with the same DBA, Long Long Noodles, at 9 Central Street, Baldwinville. Currently at that location is operated a restaurant business by A1 Family Group LLC. A1 Family has been there for the last 6 years, and over the COVID period, there were some difficult times, but now they're back and running. Miss Ying Lin has been working at the restaurant for the last few months, and she is basically being trained to be able to take over the restaurant operation and also get to know the patrons and the neighbors. And she feels really positive about Templeton, and she decided and made an offer, and the offer got accepted. So that's how we come to today. She's really looking forward to be a productive member of the Templeton town. And as far as the restaurant operation, there will be no changes of operation, no change in menu. The seating is still maintained at 36 seats. In terms of financial resources on this particular transaction, the seller is financing a 80% seller carryback note in order to help Ying get going. And Ying Lin also borrowed 30,000 as a initial capital to help her put in the business. Lastly, the proposed manager, Ying Lin, is a qualified green card holder, and she's been in the restaurant business for the last 10 years. She has recently become a Massachusetts resident. She secured a lease agreement for an apartment at Gardner, and she's familiar with the rules and regulations with the town, as well as the ABCC, the state regulations on service of alcohol. And she's also tip certified. And we're here to answer any questions the board might have.
Thank you. Is there anyone present here? Any butters or anything to speak in favor of this, or is there anyone opposed? I only see one department here. Did we have any input or any questions or anything, police,
No.
fire, anything like that?
Nope, not from us.
So before we close the hearing, do you have anything else to add from Attorney Hugh or the proposed manager?
No,
No, you're all set?
you.
Okay.
Okay.
At this time, I would move to close the public hearing.
So moved. For a second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. On the motion, how would you vote, Mr. May?
Yes.
Ms. Graves?
Yes.
Mr. Toth?
Yes.
Ms. Cover?
Yes.
Mr. Bennett is yes. The hearing is closed at 6:49. At this time, I would move to approve the transfer of the annual all alcohol on premises restaurant license and common victrola license from A1 Family Group LLC doing business as Long Long Noodles to Silk Road Bites, Inc., Long Long Noodles located at 9 Central Street, Boston, Mass. 01436.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? Does anyone have any questions for the applicant?
No.
Hearing none on the motion, how would you vote, Mr. May?
Yes.
Ms. Graves?
Yes.
Mr. Toth?
Yes.
Ms. Cover?
Yes.
Mr. Bennett is yes. And your license for alcohol and the common vic for food is hereby approved. The board will sign your licenses, necessary paperwork, and they will be in the select board's office for you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you
you
so
very
much.
much.
Have
Thank
have a
you.
good evening.
Congratulations.
You too. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Okay.
The next item up is to discuss the animal control position and the availability. And as a reminder, back in June 1st, 2026, there was a model for service, if you will, for the animal control after facility and officers after the board voted to terminate the regional agreement with Winchington. There was several options given. Option A was the part-time model. Broken down, so it would provide 24/7 coverage, Monday through Friday, 8 hours each day. And then after that, there would be on-call hours, really circled around at least 3 ACOs to keep hours below the average of 20, so we keep everyone part-time and not have to deal with the benefit increased cost. The board voted that night for option A. All were in favor of the motion, a roll call. So there's been some questions since the board did hire and appoint one individual to be in the position. Received questions and concerns not only from the board, but from a few residents. Why we don't have someone in the building or someone to take calls, even as there is training scheduled for the one cycle of training in the month of September, but state statute allows the individual to have up to their first year to complete several units of training. So with the questions and concerns by some board members and residents, I thought we'd put this on for discussion so the public could hear what's transpired to date. Mr. Administrator, do you have any
Sure.
follow-up?
Sure. So as, excuse me, as I have previously mentioned, when we hired new ACOs, we were going to train them, unless they came with, years of experience or something, or if we were getting them poaching them from another town, for example. But so far we've only hired one person, hi Devin. And so she's been training over the last few weeks, and she's done a great job. I put together an extensive list of online training for her to do in consultation with a couple of people who work for the state. And I think it was over 16 hours of work. So she's been plugging along at that and cleaning up the ACO, the kennel as well. And I just found out today that I don't even know if the chief has told her this yet because it was just scheduled, but we were looking to get her to shadow an ACO in the area. And so the ACO in Gardner is, she's going to shadow the ACO in Gardner on Thursday. So that'll provide some on the street, hands-on training. Also, help us evaluate where she is because neither the chief nor I are trained animal control officers. And so that's where we stand right now. She works 2 days a week and she's doing training right now.
Any questions from the board?
Yes. Today there was an incident on Dudley Road. It was over the system, that said that the animal control officer along with the police officer was called in and that, was Devin working today?
I don't know. I don't manage her on the day-to-day. The
Okay.
police chief does. I apologize for not knowing that.
I just was wondering, if that would be a good experience, in that situation, to have been brought in if she was if she was at the, police station. And then I guess in our weekly, there has been, a bite incident and it also said they were working with the animal control officer. Do you know if Devin worked with
No, I
that?
wouldn't know that.
Devin, were you brought in with Lori on the animal bite situation?
Lori told me about it, but I was never shown anything about it, so. I
'Cause
was
that-
informed it happened.
Cause that can be leading possibly to something, right?
Yeah, there's paperwork to do for that.
Yeah, and
And
were-
quarantining I
were-
can do.
Were you informed about the dog incident on Dudley Road this morning?
Nope.
No. Were you in the building at the police station or
I
in
wasn't
the?
working today, but I'm home,
You, okay,
2 seconds away,
okay,
phone call.
yeah. So if it's okay, I'd like to know if you could come and tell us what you've done so far up to date, your perspective of what you've done.
Yeah.
So we can have what you've done so far.
Yeah, I've cleaned out the shelter, I've organized everything, like deep cleaning, I did outside work, weeding, taking plants out that have been there forever. I did a bunch of online trainings, hours on end, but nothing long. It's hard with ACOs to do hands-on training. You don't get hands-on training unless you're doing it yourself or shadowing somebody. I mean, for me personally, like I learn by doing. I'm not gonna learn by information shoved in my face.
Were you the one on Facebook that put are you able to go on Facebook and write? Was that you that wrote about the donations and stuff in the Facebook account?
Mhm.
Okay. I know that we had they resolved it in a couple of areas in town, missing animals. And they resolved it pretty quick, the local neighbors and
Yeah,
stuff.
I've had plenty of people messaging me, but I tell them I'm like, I don't want to overstep because I don't want to lose my job. So
But people are messaging you knowing that your job role is, yeah,
every day I get messages about losing.
that's what I
funding.
thought was
you.
happening. It seemed
Yeah.
like it, yeah. Yeah, but you're just sitting there waiting until they tag you in.
So you have 5 months of experience.
I was out on calls.
No, she's, wait, at her last job?
Yes.
Was 3 months.
3 months of experience with her last job.
Well, specifically because 3 months doesn't really detail how much. She has 209.5 hours of work. So that divides out to about 26 8-hour shifts. So that's a little over 5 weeks.
But they put her in a truck by herself and put her on calls.
She was responding to calls.
Okay.
And our money paid for those calls.
Okay. But I mean, like I said, that, she has the equivalent of five weeks of training. So, it was, as I've mentioned before, it's our intent to set the employee up for success. So we don't necessarily want to put her out in the street until we feel that she's ready to succeed. We don't want an accident to happen. We don't want mismanagement. We don't want her to come across a rabid animal that, we don't know where her skill level is yet. And so again, we don't want to put her out. Like a police officer, for example, goes through 6 months of training and another 6 months on the street. And it's not what we're asking here, of course, but this is a technical position that has a lot of statutory authority, especially with barn inspections and ticket writing and maintaining someone's pet. So that's someone else's property. To many people, that's their family. So it has been our intent to train her first and then put her on the street.
So when is she expected to go out on her own?
So she, like I said, she'll be shadowing the gardener, ACO on Thursday, and we'll see how it goes then and what the feedback is. But I think the original intent was to have her go through some shadowing or get through the state training that comes in September. But I'm starting to see some anxiousness for her to get out on the street. So I think we would like some feedback from a trained ACO before we put her out, on her own. So that opportunity comes Thursday, and maybe we'll set her up with more shadowing days as well.
I just, I'm glad that we're going to this route, because finding out the things that were lacking on the other side of the coin, where you're just saying that we needed, she would have needed more training on your perspective, but yeah, we weren't getting that from, on the Winchendon end, they weren't doing that kind of protocol. So I guess it's a positive
So I
thing,
don't-
we're moving into this light.
Well, so I don't know what they were doing. For all I know, she was shadowing people. I don't
She
know.
wasn't. Were you?
I shadowed people for maybe a week and then I told them, I said I'd learn more just doing things on my own, and that's how I learned.
Because I know you drove the truck
So
by
she-
yourself. I know for a
I had
fact.
the truck at my house for weeks,
So do you have set hours right now?
7 to 3, Tuesdays and Thursdays. It's
Are you getting your 19 hours?
not
It's not 90
19.
hours. So the plan you voted was 2 8-hour days amongst, well, it would be 2, 2, and 1. And so it'd be a rotating shift once we had 3 ACOs on, because we need to save hours for when everyone's fully trained and they're also on call. Because if they get called in, those are hours that count against the 19. And so we have to stay under 20. Otherwise they become benefit eligible. So it's 2 8-hour days and then on-call hours.
Excuse me, Mr. Chair.
Mr. May.
I'm sitting over here and this is all news to me.
Yeah.
That was what you voted for.
We didn't vote for hours.
You voted for 3 people to share Monday through Friday, 7 to 3.
Right.
So,
And when
so you-
we hired her,
Yep.
I fully expected her to be available.
Yep.
To be out on the road.
so I had,
I don't know where we're checking to see, we're gonna see, because as you said, you don't have any experience, neither does the chief.
Hmm.
So how are you gonna be qualified to say she is?
so for the 3rd or 4th time, she will be shadowing people. And I also want her to go through the state training as well, which is in
But
September.
that's not a requirement.
Here to take that training from the time that she's hired.
Okay, so there's the legal requirement, but then there's training an employee. The reason why there is an entire year to get it done is because that part of the training is only offered once a year. Now, normally when you bring in someone, you have someone else to train them. We don't have that. So I was hoping to send her through the full training because September is not far away. We're also setting her up to shadow people as well.
See, now, I would think since we were in the agreement with Winchendon and they hired her and they put her out on the road, that she would be there.
Well, like I said,
otherwise
she
that
worked
would
the
be-
equivalent of 5 weeks, Bob. Do you really think that's and Devin, I'm not criticizing. I think you're doing a great job, but they're asking you these
She's also
questions.
Sworn in by the.
5 weeks. Do you think that's a fully trained person?
She's also
She's
took
doing it
the
on her
oath
own.
now.
Just because Winchendon let her do it on her own, and we're not Winchendon.
We
They're
were,
not
we
liable.
were in
for
a
this now.
intermunicipal agreement with Winchendon. We were just as responsible as them.
But not now. Now it's just us. And now it's on me. If something goes wrong, you're gonna look at me.
Well, we hired her.
Okay, and who manages her on the day-to-day? It's the chief.
Is it the chief?
Is it?
Do you report to the chief? Do you see the chief?
No. I
She reports to the chief.
I text dispatch when I'm on duty. That's
Yeah,
how I was
but
told.
your supervisor is the chief of police. It says it in your appointment letter.
Who's been working with you at the police station?
Eric Baker. He's the
Mhm.
only one that's been telling me what to do, but unfortunately he.
She is also sworn in, so when the bite happened, she should be involved in that since she is sworn in for that duty. She did take the oath and they did vote,
Being fully
but
trained.
they also voted her in for that particular thing. And Lori has a huge amount of experience in that too. So she would
Not a
have,
certain-
May I ask another question here?
oh, she
Yes.
Then
did.
who did respond?
Lori,
Do you want to bring in the police chief? We can have him come into your next meeting.
No, but I'm just wondering who did respond because we don't have an ACO. So nobody with ACO training responded.
Correct.
So
Probably.
wouldn't somebody who had some ACO training be better than somebody who has none?
I don't know, it depends on the situation. Like I said, do we want to set the employee up for success or do we want to roll the dice? I'm trying to, I'm
When are we
trying to
not
set her
rolling the
up for
dice?
success here. I want her to succeed here.
Well, in the animal bite situation, she could have been with Lori and the Board of Health, and Lori has extremely a lot of experience with this matter. And so she would have been basically technically training with her in a way when she was with her, because she'd be working with her. I mean, no, she contacted her, but that is working, so she would need hours to actually help Lori in that matter. In my opinion, I mean, but I just feel like she's just like my previous world, where she's really with the Lori's department, and she's really with the police department. She's in both worlds. Her job is in both worlds, so she can benefit both the chief and also with Lori, and her folks on that department, because she's really with both of them.
I feel respectfully, I think the reason why Lori is handling some of this stuff is because we don't have an ACO, and so they come to the health department.
No, Lori always has handled a lot of that stuff in the past with the ACOs. The Board of Health works hand in hand with that situation, because it's a human being, and that lands in her wheelhouse, and the animal goes into the animal control officer's wheelhouse. So they work together in that situation. That's why the Board of Health board votes to appoint her to work with them. They appoint them to work with them. I mean, otherwise, why would they appoint them if they didn't need them on that department? So it's a two for department. She's literally in two different directions. Just like we have another department that's the same way. They're in two different directions, you know?
And then also you had a Facebook page. I saw that you were receiving donations. All of a sudden the Facebook page disappeared.
Mhm.
People are calling that we don't have ACO, they're being told. I mean, it's like 2 steps forward, 3 steps back. Like I want
So-
to see forward momentum
Okay,
there.
so the Facebook page was taken down because per your social media policy, social media accounts have to be approved by the town administrator. She didn't know this. I don't blame her. She's new here, but that Facebook page was not approved and there were some errors happening. Again, I don't blame you, but they're asking me these questions, Devin, so I have to answer them.
Set up that Facebook
She,
page.
Baker, Police Department.
okay, but was Eric Baker the one hiding comments? There was violations of First Amendment issues. She was violating the First Amendment of people's rights. So I had to take it down.
So taking it down and just getting her the form and going through it's a form that we have in the office.
Okay,
that
so
tells you-
it's a 10-page policy that I have not had time to go through and understand, and I'm not putting it back up until I can.
I've signed it myself.
Good for you. It's 10 pages, all right? And I'm responsible for it. It's my name on it. And I've been dealing with more important things. And I've told her multiple times, I am trying very hard to get to it. But I put in overtime last week dealing with override stuff. So I'm sorry, but the Facebook page, you have to wait a few days.
And just so you know, the frustration from me on this is because I've asked twice over the summer what's going on, and I did not get an answer.
Right, so let's talk about that, Bob. So the reason why you didn't get an answer is because you send me emails that are rude and are ill-informed. And so I've decided that I'm no longer hey, I'm speaking now. I've decided that I'm no longer answering your emails when you disrespect me. I'm sending them to the chair and I'm saying, if you want to talk about it, we talk about it in these public meetings so people can see and understand how you treat me.
Well, how I treat you.
Yeah. You want
Enough,
to talk about that email? One you didn't want to talk about?
enough. Done.
Yeah, right here, read it.
We're done. Can't have a discussion without arguing. We'll move on.
Great.
We'll move on.
So to the board.
We're done.
No,
Done.
no, I'm okay, I'm good. I'm just saying, so it sounds like the board wants her on the street.
I do.
Right. If that's what the board wants, then I will talk to the chief. However, the chief has made it clear that he is in charge of officers per the statute. It just says officers. So if he's not comfortable with it, you will have to talk to him directly.
I would like also for her to be
Right.
working with Lori. With this
And under Mass
situation.
General Law, that the town meeting approved section 97A, the so-called strong police chief, states the police chief reports to the board, same as the strong fire chief law, doesn't report to the town administrator. That's town meeting vote, that's Mass General Law. So if the chief has something to tell the board, he can come talk to the board, because that's who he reports to via town meeting vote, that Mass General Law and section. Next item, vote to accept Parks and Recreation donation. There's a memo. There's two items on it. There's a donation of $10 by a couple, I think, Aaron and Henry. It was a playgroup donation for $10. And apparently during the National Play Outside Day event, they received general donations, I guess, during the event, a total of $204, with total donations to be turned over is $214. So at this time, I would move to accept the donation to Parks and Recreation of $10 from Aaron and Henry, as well as the general donations during the National Play Outside event in the amount of $204 for a total of donation amount of $214.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. On the motion, how would you vote? Mr. May?
Yes.
Ms. Graves?
Yes, and thank you.
Mr. Toth?
No.
Ms. Cover?
Yes, and thank you.
Mr. Bennett is yes.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
general comment. This is the second or third year in a row National Play Outside Day has been a 1 day in the month of August event. If you look up National Play Outside Day, it is a year-long event. It occurs the first Saturday of each month. I would like to see our Parks and Recreation actually do the program as it was intentionally designed. Or we need to change the name because we're actually plagiarizing a different program. And that's why I voted no.
Mr. Chair? It's
Yes.
a national day. It's just like National Outside Day. It happens, yes, once a month. And it's an option that they can do. They can celebrate it. And they chose to celebrate it with their funds this one time a year. That's their prerogative as commissioners.
Next item on the agenda is to consider the acceptance of the town hazard mitigation plan. Mr. Curtis. How are you doing this evening, Rich?
Hey, Rich, taking a breath now? We're all good?
Yeah, you're good. We're not gonna let you go out with a bang.
If you don't start none, there won't be none.
It's been about 3 years since this thing started,
Yeah, from long time.
and it's finally getting close to being at an end. We're not there yet. After tonight, there should be no reason for any discussion really, or any decisions to be made other than to adopt it. It's been approved by FEMA the way it is. So our next steps would be, after the adoption, is to send the adoption paper to Montechusett Regional Planning. They send FEMA that and a copy of the plan I'm sure you all got, without the draft written on it. And once they send it back to us, it's official. And then I can apply for the reimbursement, which will get the town back $22,500, which we have already spent.
Right.
And been in arrears for, but. So that's where we stand right now. So it's not over yet, but it's getting close. And we have until, I don't know if it's November 1st or 15th to get this done. So.
I understand you're retiring at the end of the month. Will you be sending this out?
Monday, week from
Oh,
today.
yes, a week. At the end of the month, I said.
Yes,
So will you have this out to them prior to then, or is this something that James is gonna be sending out? I just want to make sure that the coordination is,
it'll get sent out as soon as you sign it. I mean, we'll have it out tomorrow. but
okay, and then who will be going for the grants? Who will be following up with that? Do we have a plan in place?
I'm still gonna be helping out to get it done.
Oh, that's.
I just
really
want to
nice.
make sure. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Uh, anything else from the board?
Mhm.
Just before we let you go, how long have you been the Templeton EMD go-to guy?
18,
18 years.
88
And
altogether. I was,
myself and Richard probably, I don't know, swatted flies back and forth more than a couple times over the years, sometime budget, sometime just philosophical stuff. I will say that he has operated without a taxation budget of like nothing. He is also, doesn't matter what you think of EMD, the building, all that stuff doesn't matter. All the stuff in there in the operation and everything that whenever they have done something, including CERT, the ice storm comes to mind back in 2008. It's he is probably the most prolific grant writer the town has had to date. He's just been awesome at getting grants for any number of things. So on that front, he will be missed. On behalf of the board and the residents of the town, I thank you for your time. Don't know where you're going, what you're going to do when you retire, because I think you've already done that once,
already
but
set myself up with a wood shop, so.
whatever you choose to do, it's fine by me. But I would, on behalf of the board and the residents of the town, thank you for all your time and your service, Rich, because you have put up with some stuff over the years, all kinds of different angles, myself included in that. And but you've always done good. And again, you've been a prolific grant writer, which has gotten the town stuff for little to no money out of taxation or anything. You've just been getting the money that we send out of the town. You brought some back. And for that, I'm very thankful. So enjoy your time and take care. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll keep in touch.
Rick, I know this has been your baby all the way through, and I thank you for the dedication and the diligence working through it. I also shared many years with you on the rescue squad, and I know the time you've put in on EMD.
Yep.
And I'll echo Jeff's sentiment. I know the minuscule budget you've had and what you brought back 2, 5, 10-fold at times. It's just like, we need more of you. I heard it said earlier, and I'll have to,
Volunteers
I
are
will
few
steal,
and far between.
I'll steal Werner's thing. We need to clone you as well, sir.
Thank you.
I just wanted to let you know Terry would have been here tonight because she wanted to thank you in person, but she wasn't unable to. So I just wanted to let you know to pass that on to you and to thank you for everything you've done for our town. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Thanks, Rich.
Thank you.
I'll wait until you vote.
Okay. Besides, we can see it.
I think we have a reputation.
At this time, I would move to adopt the hazard mitigation plan 2026 as presented and for the board to sign.
Second.
Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none. On the motion, how would you vote? Mr. May?
Yes.
Ms. Graves?
Yes.
Mr. Toth?
Yes.
Ms. Cover?
Yes.
Mr. Bennett is yes. Now you can be happy.
I won't be happy till it's all over. All right, good night all.
We
Good night.
Rich,
appreciate it.
thank you.
Jeff, if you want to rip out a copy of your packet and sign it,
Yes,
let the board sign it, and then I can pass it over to Rich. And
I wrote all over mine.
yeah, you don't need glasses for that. Worse than a doctor.
Get over it. Get over my signature.
thank you.
Ah. All right, the next item on the agenda is indirect billing of the enterprise funds. I put this on the agenda for a couple of reasons. One, the auditors doing the town audit under the management letter, they have consistently commented on the indirect cost, not only for the water, light, sewer, and even enterprise fund would be TCTV. Transferring funds to cover the enterprise fund portion of health insurance, retirement, and OPEB. But we are also allowed by the Department of Revenue Division of Local Services to bill for such things as the accounting department, the collector, and the treasurer, because they are town departments and all of their paperwork, all of their invoices, their pension, their vacation, their W-2s, all of that is done in town hall. And the sewer department, the town voted, and the selectmen did, to collect the sewer bills in the treasurer's office. So there is a formula or a process. You have to figure out the portion of the amount of time that, such as the accountant, the treasurer, and the collector have to put forth to do all this work. And it has to, from what I read, in the informational guide release, you figure out the time that each department puts into doing that billing, and you do a percentage. And they did it for the sewer. There was a prior town administrator, interim / full-time, Mr. Terenzini, figured out the collecting and the processing of all the paperwork, the collecting of the sewer bills, plus the processing of their payrolls, all of that other stuff, and how much time each department was putting in, and did a percentage. And I'm going to track it down. It's they did a presentation on it, and they came up with an amount of, just for the sewer, was $19,161 that would come back to the general fund. We had change in accounting personnel, and I spoke with the treasurer today, and like fell off the table and hasn't been done in a couple of years. So I wanted to get the feel of the board, because it's going to be some time and work to ask the accountant, the treasurer collector, their time, in all of those services. What's the percentage of their time, and to come up with a formula to, charge the enterprise funds for the services that we do to them in town hall. So it's just, a consensus on the board, if you feel that you'd like to pursue this. Again, it was 19,000 just back in 19, just for, the sewer department. If we could get close to that with the other two big ones, plus the, TCTV is an enterprise fund, or whatever we're processing for them. It's like 40, 50,000, 30,000, what, this, it's not gonna help in 27 by the time, if we get all this stuff through and start this process, but it would help going forward. The enterprise funds bill the town for electric, water, and sewer, even though, we're town departments. And I gave you a handout. If you look at the light and the water bills, residential light bill has a customer service charge of $4.03. A commercial building has a customer surcharge of $8.91. And that's the service charge that they are attaching to all the town buildings' electric bill. Mr. Mayor.
I don't know, you can tell me, Mr. Chair, if you think this is acceptable to discuss with this agenda item. But in the budget, we have money that we budget from the general fund to pay for light bills and water bills. I don't have the number in front of me. I don't know if it's about 70,000 or something. That includes streetlights. As we know, the light department, from time to time gives us, agrees to give us money for this project or that project or what have you. Would the board want to consider asking the light department to cover instead the light and water bills instead? That way it is a consistent amount of money that, as we know, ultimately increases every year. So it's almost like a built-in way to get a certain amount of money from them a year that slowly increases. That might be something worth exploring with them, because I assume that Mr. Driscoll probably has a number in his head each year that he says, when he's doing his budget, that says, all right, I'm going to set aside this amount to possibly give to the town if they come to me and ask for, money for a project like the carport that we're currently bidding out is something they agreed to. Now, if we ask them for this money, that other money probably goes away. So it would be a trade-off between what we think we'd get with what we know we'd get. And what we know we'd get would come with, a modest increase each year, depending on what it is that we're paying for electricity.
I think that's a great approach. I think opposed to sitting down and saying, we offer you this service, this service, this service. Just us as a board making the decision. I think having a conversation would go a long ways. And I think that is a good idea. Maybe we could swap one service for another.
So the Department of Revenue in our financial reviews in 2009 and March of 2021 has recommended to come to a pilot agreement with the light department. So far, that has really gone nowhere. Ashburnham's Municipal Light Department back in 2013 had an annual town meeting vote for a pilot with Ashburnham's Municipal Light Department, and it's based off a formula, a percentage of the kilowatt hours. And it's roughly been around the 65,000-ish or so dollar amounts. You can get on the Ashburnham website, find their time meeting things, and you can see it. It's generally within the first 5 articles. I think it's like usually Article 3, but we've tried that approach. Also in the past, up until, in 2014, and that was the year the town was in trouble, there was an article, it's Article 2, for a special town meeting on July 10th, 2014, where the town would vote to appropriate to the general fund of the town the sum of $31,532 from surplus funds in the operating account of the municipal lighting plant. Back in 2013, that same article, it was $150,000. And if you go back and look through the annual town meeting reports up until 2013, 14, if you will, there was always an article and the amounts varied from 75,000 to 150. There was no like set amount. It seems like whatever the commissioners had surplus revenue and they voted, they offered it to the town to, it was a town meeting vote to accept it, to help the town. Generally, it was stated that to be used to offset the fiscal, like in 2013, the fiscal 14 town expenses as part of a town balanced budget. Some of the articles had to assist the assessors in setting the tax rate. I mean, it would be in a revenue amount to be added to general state aid, local receipts, and you need, making up numbers, 10 million, and you have 3 million in local receipts and state aid and the light money and free cash. So subtract it from 10, and that's how much you have to get for real estate taxes in a nutshell, I think. I think I'm close enough. So if we could get something like that, preferably like a set amount or an agreement, sort of like the pilot amount.
By the way, I'm saying do both. I'm with you in trying to figure out more charges to indirect to bill them on. And I tried to work on this during the last budget cycle, but it was a little hard because the trick is having a justifiable way to bill. So you have to figure out, like you were mentioning, to figure out your time. So we did that. I did that with a couple of small things like I think the cost of Harper's or IT, and I did assess the or indirect bill, I should say, the sewer department more, but that didn't apply to light and water. But I agree that it'd be a good idea to tweak that for FY28. But I also think that it might be helpful for the board to consider asking Light if they would go back to some sort of pilot payment or just agree to pay for the light and water costs to run these municipal buildings. It's just unfortunate that we take our general fund money and ship it over there for this when, they could consider covering it.
Do you think if we had like a workshop type of, like a one-time, like a thing where they could come in and have a conversation with us?
I
Type
don't,
of-
that didn't feel like it worked good last time.
Oh, did we try that? Well, but that was different. They were all in the back. Oh, you mean the thing?
The water sewer,
back
yeah.
of the room, they didn't come forward.
I think if the select
And there was
board,
too much on the agenda.
I think if the select board is interested in the, for example, the covering of the light bills and the water bills, we politely ask if the light commissioners would be, into that.
Mr. Chair,
Yes,
if I may, just as another justification for this is, the TA was just saying, I talked to Tom back, I think it was in January, and asked him, and he stated there's about 5,000 telephone poles on Templeton property by the Templeton Light. So that is another means that you could justify any expense, potentially, and that was what was told to me also by, I forget who at the time when I was asking about, the pilot system or the pilot idea. But I do like James's idea to get rid of the electric and water here and potentially to make it a, a reasonable number, I think you probably have to include the town streetlights too.
Yeah.
Because the streetlights, this is for fiscal 26, is listed at
20 cents.
17,541. For a period of time, the light department came up with a thing that they would pay for the streetlights. They paid for the electric portion of the town bills for, I think it might have been a couple of years. And then they would charge the town like 10% of the electric cost. And then the next year it would increase it till it got back to the point where the town was paying. I forget what the reasoning was for. It's in the one of the budget books, I think maybe 19. But again, I just wanted to see what the board thought on approaching this and trying to see if we could get something on the table. Again, DOR has recommended this twice in 2 financial reviews that we get to a pilot agreement. I have asked, put it in front of the board before, or put it on the agenda to let the board know that, for instance, like Ashburnham does it off of a formula. That was the town meeting vote to accept the formula and the percentage, and each year now you take the formula, you figure out what the amount, and that's how they arrive at the amount. So
Do you think that would be better to have a private conversation like James? Or is that something that we should do publicly?
About which part?
Just in regards to the whole program. I think maybe a private conversation may work better.
Well, I think there's 2 things that the board can kind of direct me to do. There's the project of, we don't need necessarily their permission to indirect bill them. I don't know what they would say if they said no, I don't know what would happen if they said no, but if we can show that we are experiencing costs through the work we're doing, then we can bill them, charge them. Then the second piece of this is if you want to pursue a pilot payment or the water electric bills idea. So I think there's 2 separate things here for you to consider, and you can do them both. And I think we should definitely at least continue trying with the indirect billing, because we're already doing it on a lot. Just what we're talking about now is probably the hardest part. Is figuring out what staff time goes to handling their payroll that comes in, their AP that comes in. It's really kind of a tracking game, but with enough time and effort, we could figure it out.
I believe the formula, the procedure is already there for the sewer. It was worked out. There's a presentation. I would have to track down the meeting date. I believe it started in 19, and it just fell off like maybe 25 when we had Kelly left, and then we got Melanie, and then we had Aponte, and then we had nobody. But somewhere between, I think, 19 and 25, somewhere in there. Cheryl would have, if they give it an email, she could look it up and find when it fell off. But that has already, that percentage and the way they were billing had already been figured out. It's just the light, water, and even TCTV is an enterprise fund. I don't know if that's ever, the accountant, the treasurer collectors ever done for how much they do for them. But they, like I said, the W-2s, they don't get them. They in town hall, where is it at? Because town hall does all of that stuff for them,
I mean, they're
including their debt and all of that.
I mean, they're sending us a bill on the services that they provide us, the water and the electrical for our buildings. But we're not sending them for the services that we provide on our end. So, logically, it makes sense. And if we're not really benefiting that much, we are I mean, it's a taxpayer dollars no matter what you look at all the way around, but it would be helpful to the general budget.
I think
So-
we should do all three departments, not just single out one.
No, all the enterprise funds, I'm just saying sewer had been done before because they are collecting sewer bills in town hall. And they came up with a percentage, the formula, and Alex said 2019, it was like $19,000 just from the sewer department.
Okay.
So, is there a consensus to have the town administrator look at the things that he just brought up, the indirect billing for the indirect cost and either the pilot or pay for, you know, don't charge the town buildings for the water, the electric, the sewers, et cetera. Try the angles and see what the response is. And if they come up with something, then it could be on an agenda for a discussion.
How long do you think, I mean, how long do you think, I mean, we're already working on a lot of projects in our office. How long out do you think that we should put that as a
It would
request?
probably have an effect. it- more on the 28 budget than the 27, depending on where we come. Because it would be unexpected revenue and, you know, like I said, looking further out, this is not really gonna fix the 27 budget thing, but it's just to be more forward-looking,
So as
to try to
something,
bring in, you know, more money back to the general fund, because right now the general fund is sending light, water, and sewer money to those departments. And in return, you could say, they take that money and some of it's coming back to the general fund when they pay their enterprise funds portion of the health insurance, the retirement, the OPEB, and so forth. So it's kind of going in a circle right now anyways. We need to try to claw back some of that money for the general fund. Because you know, if we could get 50,000, 60,000, 40,000, whatever, that's a help. It's not gonna pay big things off, but
it could be. So as we go into the budget season. we're
we
getting
have money going
information.
there, so we need to see if we can claw some of that back, is my thought.
So we're probably looking at wanting to have some of this information by the time we hit February. As we go into the budget season.
Depending on, you know, the conversations, how they go.
Yeah, well.
I mean, as
obviously,
far as the
better.
indirect billing goes, yeah, that's a project we have to figure out how to do it. If you can find any information from the past, whether it was just an agreement or if there was a mathematical formula they followed. Otherwise, I'll do it the way that I know, and we have to figure out, you know, people's time relating to those items. And then as far as the pilot or taking care of the bills, that'll just be on them to decide if they want to do it or not. So there'll be no time
Right.
frame on that. That's be on the light commissioners, but I can at least tell them that this is what the board is in favor of. So, you know, please consider it.
Okay. I'm on board.
The next item is item H. It has to do with, it's light and water because they're, covered under the special legislation. But again, it's particularly the water department, it's happened several years when it comes time for the town to do its financial audit. Past, I think, 3 years, well, 4 years back. 22, yeah, starting I think in 22, the audit in 19 was completed and presented in November 2019, and that's, you know, fiscal 19 ended June 30th, 2019, and the audit was presented to the town in November. 2020 was in second week of January. The next year's was done at the end of January. And then the follow-up ones were March and then April. And the reason given was water wasn't ready. This year, I talked with the accountant a week ago, waiting on the water department. I don't know what the issue is, if they don't have the funds, if it's their auditor firm, whatever the case may be. Light and water, the light operates under Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 164. And under 164, Section 56 states that the manager of the light and water shall at any time when required by the mayor, selectmen, municipal light board, if any, or department, make a statement to such officers of his doings, business, receipts, disbursements, balances, and indebtedness of the town and his department. There is also Section 57, which says at the beginning of each fiscal year, the manager of the municipal lighting shall furnish to the mayor, selectmen, municipal light board, if any, an estimate of the income, sales of the electric, gas, and so forth. So there's two different sections. Section 56 states that if the select board requests the general manager to come before them and explain the conditions financially of the light or the water. I would put this on to see if the board is interested and has consensus to request the general manager to give us an update on the water department's finance and what is the holdup on the audit, which is holding up the town's audit. Or the accountant has said our auditor, which we have under contract to do fiscal 25, we're waiting on water. And I think the board has a responsibility, and the residents would, we have a responsibility for the residents to know why, what's the holdup with this department.
Have there been any communication sent to them?
Other than the accountant checks and see if they're ready, to go or not. She had been told, no. And again, to finding an audit firm going forward, they could be in the same position as the town because one company bought up almost all of the independent audit firms, and now a big company bought them out, so they have and the DOR is aware of it, the fact that there is the number of firms to do audits is shrinking. And Mr. Administrator.
My understanding was that I don't know, a few months ago, whatever it was at this point, a communication was sent from them to Amber in that what's holding up the audit is that they changed their accounting system. And for some reason that change is they're having trouble generating information, I guess, that the auditors need. For some reason that change is holding up their audit. So that's what I was told several months ago.
So again, is Mr. May?
If I might, I just have a concern. As I read this, it seems to state to me in a declining order that under the direction and control of the mayor, selectmen, or municipal light board. And we do have a municipal light board. So the way I read this, they would be the ones that they'd report to in this scenario, not necessarily the select board, and they definitely wouldn't report to the mayor because we don't have one.
Well, again, just
my reading,
again, it says the manager shall at any time, when required by the mayor, the selectmen, the municipal light board, if any, or department. If the board's not, interested in doing it, that's fine.
I'm interested. I just don't know if we have the.
Authority.
I know it says that, if you don't have a light board, they said that then if we didn't have a light board, then the selectmen would set the conversation and all that, but we do have a light board.
I think where it's holding up our audit,
Yeah,
we should have some input.
maybe to both of them, the manager and their board.
James.
April's calling upon me.
Sorry.
My reading of the statute, and again, not a lawyer, but my reading of the statute, because later on in that section, it says, it says something along the lines of, to kind of anyone who this affects. So obviously their billing and stuff runs through us. What they do affects us. So we may be able to call them, but my concern was along two routes. One, I think all that statute gives is that at best, he would have to send you something in writing. So whatever you ask him, he'll send you something in writing. So I don't think we can summon him here for a discussion or anything. And then there's a practical sense that even if we requested this of the light department and they didn't respond, what is the mechanism? They're protected by the light commissioners that, may be uninterested or not in complying with requests that we have. And then the third, I guess, is a third section. I think if we're going to ask them for money in a sense of a pilot or something else, we want to be careful what we also demand of them from a political perspective. Don't poke the bear.
I step on toes, I step on toes. It doesn't.
We just want to know when they're.
Mr. Toth knows me.
The audit's one thing. I mean, I can email and call them.
Mr. Toth.
Ask.
The concern I have, and I heard what the TA said, I agree to a point. But if their audit is holding up our audit, and correct me if I'm wrong, the deputy assessor is sitting right here. Our audit also in turn may or may not impact setting the tax rate.
I don't know when
I'm not 100% either.
it's not one of the things that I have to check off or
Yep.
that I need to work with the accountant on. It does become an issue with bond counsel. I know
Yes.
that when we don't have audits.
So I believe the board does have the authority to request these folks come in, and if the light and water commissioners don't want to act, we can step in and say, we need answers. And this may come down to the fact the pool of auditing firms is dwindling, and we know this. But if we're waiting on them to do our part and then it can impact down the road, it's just a series of dominoes, which one's gonna fall first? And then how many do have to drop before we get to the next piece of the puzzle? That's my biggest concern right now. And I just see this whole big thing as the snowball waiting to get tipped and pushed down the mountainside.
I mean, I could start with just having a conversation with them and seeing what the holdup is before
Yeah.
we send some official letter or something.
And to your point or concern, Mr. Toth, I think what I'm doing on every Wednesday, and I'll have to check when I get home. I think they might have started it Tuesday from 10 a.m. to noon. You can submit questions to Municipal Finance, Legal Bureau, the
Yep.
DLS Library, and ask them a question. You can submit it in, and then you sit there on a Zoom meeting, and sometimes they will answer your question, and sometimes they will tell you, check with town council. I said, I waited here an hour and a half for you to tell me that. Okay. But I could possibly get them if they would answer that question. I think they started doing it Tuesday and Wednesday because they were getting, like I said, the last time I did it on Wednesday, it was about an hour and a half wait on the Zoom meeting because when I submitted my question, there was a bunch of people in front of me.
The number of participants
Yes.
is growing.
Yeah, you get, like I said, whatever position in line your question is, you wait that long.
And that just proves to me a lot of towns are in the same thing.
Yep, it's just, utilizing the state entity that, they push out, DLS push out, hey, ask us, so.
Mr. Chair, I am concerned if it has to do with their new billing system, that's what's the holdup. That hopefully they have a grasp on it and give the information to their auditor, because that's like, I just have this head in my stomach. when you said that. I'm hoping they can get the data out of the system that they're requiring, that this is not a major issue on their end.
Are we all set on that? So the town administrator will just have a conversation.
And I'll report back.
All right, the next item on the agenda is to open the special town meeting warrant. And it has to be, it's a special town meeting, so it has to be open for 14 days, and it has to be posted for 14 days. And if we voted to open it August 25th, it would close on September 21st. And the only thing would be the time to close it. So at this time, I would move to open the special town meeting warrant and for it to close on September 21st, 2026 at 4 p.m. I told the time if anybody want to extend it or close it earlier.
What day of the week is it?
The 21st is a Monday.
It's a Monday, thank you.
That's the 28 days. I mean, it could close 30 days out if you want, but I would close it and then get it prepared for our meeting the following week. And we will, I mean, we have that special election on the 28th, so we would know what we're going to be doing for articles. You know, we pass over or we prepare to appropriate the monies from the override if the question passes.
We're still going with the 21st of October for the I mean, the town meeting?
21st of yes, I don't, we
Okay.
don't,
I didn't know if we were moving it up to the 14th or the 7th.
to give us time for the warrant. In October, 21st still gives, I believe, the assessors time to take whatever's done at the meeting to get ready for the tax classification hearing and then ultimately the tax recap sheet. So we can get our stuff done that needs to be done. So
These are
tax
not-
bills can be set, the tax bills can be set out on time, and you know, there's no need for bans and all of that stuff. Hopefully it just things line up this year.
Okay,
So
that's good.
are we good with the date and the time?
Yes.
Yep.
Was there a second?
Second.
On the motion to open the special town meeting warrant and to close, how would you vote, Mr. May?
Yes.
Ms. Graves?
Yes.
Mr. Toth?
Yes.
Ms. Culver?
Yes.
Mr. Bennett is a yes. The next item is the assessor's admin assistant resignation. Mr. Administrator?
Yes, the deputy assessor's part-time admin has resigned effective Friday, right? Right, effective Friday. So I just wanted to make sure that the board was okay with us filling that. We filled the one in the town clerk's office. It's a situation where you have one full-time employee and then a part-time employee that manage the whole office. It's in the budget, obviously. It'd take us a couple weeks at least to hire. But it's the board's prerogative. Because of the budget situation, I did want to pause and give you the opportunity to weigh in. I see that Justice is here. If you have any questions, but it's just that.
We did keep that in the budget when we were,
Right.
I know we went back and forth on it and we
Yeah,
ultimately
no, we
decided
did
to
keep it
leave
in.
it, leave the administrative assistant in the budget, so the money is there. We put the assistant in there. Because we're adamant about town hall and so forth, so unless there's objections,
I object.
go back.
I think right now we are in a crisis and where it's not absolutely necessary to fill that position. I think we need to hold off to see where we land. I really honestly do. We need to. I don't think that we should fill it. I don't see a need.
We've filled one other assistant and we did leave it in the budget, so it was funded. Whatever happens, that's in the zero override budget. Because we were gonna cut it and we went back and said, keep it, and we had
I thought we did a hiring freeze though.
multiple after multiple iterations, that position was left in the zero override budget, which town meeting approved and voted for, so
Mr. Chair,
yes,
could we hear what the deputy assessor has to say about the potential of us, let's say,
Not,
holding that position until after the override either passes or fails?
I mean, it's the board's prerogative whether or not there is a hiring freeze or not. As you know, I'm the only full-time person in the office, and after this week, I'll be the only employee of that office. I'll be honest, I've had 2 health events that have happened in the last 2 years. And it is one of your core financial offices. Granted, the administrative assistant for my office does not perform the valuation duties that I perform. But it's just something to keep in mind that when you have such a small department like ours, any giant fluctuation like that can make things more difficult one way or the other. I mean, ultimately, it's the board's prerogative if you want to wait until after the override. I don't. I mean, we're talking, it's the 24th now. You're talking like 34 days. But it's just something to keep in mind, will there be that much of a difference in 34 days, considering that it is a part-time position with no benefits?
And I'll just note for the board too, it's up to you, but when you have a department like this, Justice does a good job of staffing town hall hours, if he has a vacation, the admin assistant works more. But anytime he's, off, if we do hold it, the office would be closed. And so we'd have to put up notifications and, it is what it is, but just making sure, that's what part of your consideration.
Which I've done in the past when I haven't had an assistant in the interim, or even when I had first just started taking over completely by myself in the office. I didn't have an assistant for a couple of weeks. So it's not something that I'm uncomfortable with doing, but keep in mind that I have to conduct property visits. There's trainings I have to go to, and other things may come up. So, it depends on what the interest of the board is.
And there's also the consideration, not to be technical, but the override could pass and then fail to be appropriated at town meeting. So the question would be, okay, do we hold off until, let's say the override's approved, or do we hold off until after town meeting? So that would kick it down the road some more.
and that is a good point on the override. Again, I've said it in the past, it's been said by others. It's a 2-step process. The override can pass at the ballot. We still have to have articles or article to appropriate the money from the override. As was stated when we were doing from the first one back in March and April, we had stated that if either the 2 or 4 million had passed, we were going to only ask town meeting to appropriate a portion of it, and the rest would be left as excess levy capacity for any increases on the following fiscal years. So again, the override can pass at the ballot, but then you have to ask town meeting to appropriate it. And the amount of money that they appropriate, that's the money that's going to really affect their tax bills. So I never looked up to see how many overrides have passed, and the appropriations, did not match up. It's something I've never checked on. Might be something to look at. But the possibility is there that town meeting could just say, no. So that we have to ask them to appropriate the override money. So it is a 2-step process.
Can I speak?
So again, when we first started back in March, the second or third meeting, whatever one it was, we did go back and forth with cutting the administrative assistants and then decided to leave them in the budget. And we're looking for an assistant town clerk. So I don't know how soon they find someone. I don't know how long it took when this one started to, the previous one who left, how long a process it was to find somebody to take the job. I mean, it's not a $50 an hour job or nothing. I mean, it's just part-time, 19-hour, whatever it is, and some blowing hours. So it's not a big hit in my opinion. And it's something that we already budgeted for. It's already, town meeting already voted for. So, and yep, could be stuff we're looking at cutting, but, and we did make the thing that, we didn't want to punish town hall. We weren't going to decimate town hall. So.
But she's leaving, and I think we're in a budget crisis. And again, when it comes to public safety over an administrative assistant, we should be hanging on to those funds to see what the outcome is before we make any moves. So to close his office for a couple hours, if he has to go here, there, or wherever, just that the proper notifications go out, I don't foresee a problem with it. I think that we need to watch our dollars, and I don't feel as though that's a essential job.
Well, anything further on the board? Well, at this time, I would move to allow for the advertisement and hiring for an administrative assistant in the Board of Assessors office.
I'll second it so we can discuss it.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion outside of what we've already had.
To the chair.
Yes.
I tend to agree with Ms. Cover. If we're gonna implement a hiring freeze, we implement a hiring freeze. It doesn't matter what department. A hiring freeze means just that. It's a hiring freeze. My own current position, it's one deep. When I'm not there, the work doesn't get done. End of discussion. It's that simple. You can't say it any cleaner and plainer. I mean, if the person's resigning, I respect that. I understand that they're moving on. But these are desperate times. It calls for some desperate measures. And we don't know what's going on. There's too much uncertainty right now.
Anything further?
I still like the idea of waiting until after the initial election override, because that's generally the one that we have the problem with. And if my thinking is correct, she's resigning the end of the week. So that really leaves 28 days, really is 4 weeks. Best case scenario, if we advertise now, we'd probably get somebody in 3, maybe, you know? I wouldn't even mind, you know, advertising as long as we don't hire before then. Because we did talk about a freeze. And I do know it's funded, and I agree that it's needed. But I just think that before we hire somebody a week before the override and then tell everybody else we gotta let them go, that just doesn't really fly well. If that's the way it transpires. So that's just my 2 cents.
Anything further? Hearing none on the motion, how would you vote, Mr. May?
No.
Mr. Toth?
No.
Ms. Cover?
No,
Mr. Bennett is a yes. Last item on the agenda is Main Street Bridge Contract Amendment, Mr. Administrator.
So in your packet, you will find, if you wish to continue forward, it was part of your goals, and there needs to be updates to the current, agreement, not agreement, sorry, the engineering study that's been done. It's a couple years old and, a bunch of regulations have changed since then. I mean, the same thing that's affecting, the Royalston Road project, but the map DOT routes changed and just some updated stuff. I thought I mentioned this, but we have money in chapter 90 that we can spend on this as a chapter 90 eligible task item. And if the board approves this, Chris is ready to, submit that. Chris being the DPS director for the people at home. He's ready to submit that if the board so chooses. Attached in your packets is a description of the work that needs to be done and the cost, which I think is what, 95,000?
how much is in chapter 90 right now?
I think it was 700,000 that we're eligible for, because we didn't do much or any paving this summer. Let's see if I wrote that down. I think it was 7. With this update too, down the road, we would be eligible to apply for basically the Mass Works grant in June. And so that would be my goal, would be to take this updated study and apply for that.
When are you applying for that?
I believe it's June that the next round is available. this year, or this fiscal year, the water department applied for something, so we weren't eligible because they view us as one town. So in June, but besides, this has to get updated anyway, so the timing's kind of good. So I believe it's in June that the next round is available.
Are you gonna make the water department aware that we're going to be applying in June of 2027?
Yes, I already had that conversation with Scott.
And this money will be coming out of money that the public service director controls.
Chapter 90?
Yeah.
Yes.
I just had a question. How come he didn't come in tonight?
I didn't ask him because this isn't about chapter 90. It's just, it's about the Main Street Bridge. Chapter
know.
90 would just be the funding source.
Mr. Chair, if I may.
Yes.
The grant what you're talking about for June, does that have any copay or participation involved that you know of?
One house one. You know what? I do not know. I will write that down and get you that answer.
Okay, because that, I mean, I understand the necessity of this if we're going forward, but if we don't have the money to go forward, this seems questionable to do now. I understand it does have to be done, but until we're somewhere in a position to follow through on it, because we do have the Main Street Bridge, Hamlet Mill Bridge, Berry Road, and the like.
I know it pays up to could pay up, dish out up to $5 million. And in talking with Scott Schlinger, the water department, I don't remember him saying that they had a match, but yeah, I don't know for certain.
I don't believe usually MassWorks requires one, but
According to the webs, it doesn't.
Okay,
they usually don't.
good, cool.
But good question though, because
But if if the board wants to pursue this is we're on track to take a shot at this. If we can get this updated and go for that MassWorks grant, 5 million might, if we get it, 5 million might cover this, and then you have a major piece of infrastructure. You get updated, that would be amazing for this town.
at this time, I would move to accept the Main Street Bridge contract amendment and for the town administrator to sign, as well as to apply for the max work grant.
Second,
Put that under AC. Second. Any discussion?
Unless I'm misreading this, this takes tie and bond, gets us through the 100% construction documents as well on this $95,000 expenditure.
Yeah, because I think you were there, but the
Yeah.
thing just got out to date, so.
Yeah, I think that's what this is, just getting it current.
Mm.
Anything further? Hearing none on the motion, how would you vote, Mr. May? Want me to come back? That
yeah,
calculator's
please, I'm just
smoking.
doing some,
I know the calculator's smoking.
yeah, it is, because this, I just noticed this, and I'm sorry to,
Okay.
it's okay.
Yeah, that'd be
I
fine.
just noticed it says total estimated duration for this is 10 months. That drops us in June.
They're aware of this grant, so they're gonna have to get it done. They're the
I'm
ones.
just saying, this is what it says in black and white, right? Yeah. But that's it. Sorry, Mr. Chair. On page 6.
You could approve me to sign it, having them change it to 9 months.
Hold their feet to the fire.
Yeah, it's 1 month. And they know the grant's available. So I don't think they'd have a problem with that.
I would be fine with that. I just hate to miss a deadline by a week. No,
Yeah, I agree.
Are you good now, Bob? Or-
yeah, I think, yeah, I'm good.
Okay. So on the motion, how would you vote, Mr. May?
Yes.
Ms. Graves?
Yes.
Mr. Toth?
Yes.
Ms. Culver?
Yes.
Mr. Bennett is a yes. And that is the end of the agenda. It is time for board member comments. Mr. May.
Yes. I have one comment. Or one item. Just bear with me here. On June 15th, the select board voted 5-0 to send my encroachment data to the assessor's office. We were asked to give the assessor 2 weeks and get the info back to us. On July 7th, we received this email saying, Justice asked to let you know he'd be out of the office, and he'd get back to the work. I don't want to read the whole thing because it has some of it, but it just says he'd get back to the encroachment information as the board requested. And then on July 22nd, I asked this issue again, and the following is the response I received. I have not received anything from him so far, so no. Bear in mind, he lost a week due to an unforeseen incident. Justice tends to be very thorough, and he'd catch up on his work. So as we stand today, it's now 2 months and 9 days since the select board voted on this, and we have still not received a response, which I find just inappropriate. And I don't think this is a timely response, timely manner. And I wouldn't like to do this again. And that's the end of my comment.
Ms. Graves?
I'd like to thank everybody that put on the fair at the senior center, for the community garden. They did an excellent job. Everybody had a good time and they're looking forward to possibly doing it next year. And that's all I have to say.
Mr. Toth?
Yep, one quick update, the state land pilot and the working group. There was a meeting scheduled for October that's been pushed out. It's now become a 2-part meeting. in November and December, and I'm hoping they don't push much further. But I'm already signed up to attend those. I'll keep everybody updated as this goes. Senator Comerford has been pushing for this for quite some time, and there is a separate working group for the Quabbin Reservoir watershed communities. That pilot is paid for by the using communities that benefit from that watershed and that project as the reservoir. But the state pilot for the land use, this town will benefit from as well. And they know that formula is broken, just like many of the others, and we're finally getting a little bit of traction on it. Let's hope we can get the traction we really need.
Ms. Colville?
First off, I want to, again, congratulate Mr. Curtis on his retirement next week. I'm happy to hear that he's going to be finishing out that plan and applying for that grant so we can get those funds back. Also wanted to remind the public of tomorrow night's citizen meeting in regards to the override, the question and answers. It's happening here in Town Hall at 6 o'clock. Also, I've received several emails from citizens copying me on emails to the senator and the state representatives. I really do appreciate that. Thank you so much. I think we need to continue to stay on top of them. And the last thing is Justice, your assistant. I'm sorry to see that she's resigned. And I hope that my concerns in regards to administrative assistance and our budget comments isn't what prompted that.
I just have one thing. I forwarded this email out last week. I met with the mayor of Gardner. I just popped into I had a conversation with Mr. Warrant Pogle, and I went in and I talked to the mayor about grant writing and the firm they have and how they pay for it and how much. We chatted for a while. And I asked him if he possibly could attend a future meeting of the select board to talk a little bit about Gardner's grant writing, the firm they use, how they pay for it, the projects that they have completed, and any projects they're planning on with grant funding. I didn't expect it as fast as I got it. I got home that evening and I forwarded it to the board. He not only sent the email naming the company and the contact, he basically gave us 95% of the homework, their RFP, how much they pay, all of the other firms that they looked at, all the other firms that replied to their RFP, and gave heads up on how there is a retainer per month, and some of them were charging this way or that way. So I intend to ask the mayor to come to one of the September meetings. I was going to email him or pop in and ask him which one of our meetings would better fit his schedule. He said he'd be glad, just give him the date and he would come here and give us just a little thing on how Gardner approaches grant writing and their firm and how they pay for it and their projects and so forth. They pay $7,500 a month. You do the math. If you went out and hired an employee, experienced grant writer, you're probably in the 80K range. Then you have their benefits, and then you have to have an office, and then you have all the office expenses, and they go on vacation, they can't have sick, they have a personal day, they could miss a grant through no fault of their own, just being off and stuff. And this is something I think Templeton cannot afford not to do. So unless there's any objections, I'm going to invite the mayor to one of our September meetings, assuming he can make the September thing, to give us a little insight as to what they do, and this firm that they use. And he seems to think that, even though they have a sort of an exclusive agreement, something about we're in District 2, he said something, there might be a possibility where we could, join on. But again, I just think it's something, we have so many projects, we have Stonebridge, we have Hamlet Mill Road Bridge. If we shut down the Main Street Bridge before that one is done, I don't know if it can handle it. It's already been inspected and had holes in it from MassDOT that it's on the downhill slide of its lifespan. So, and our roads, I looked up an email that I sent Mr. Driscoll from the Water Department, and they wanted to do some water mains on the CDBG grant funding, but they run into the same things as you do with Chapter 90 funding. It's technical stuff, like it's more of a artery lane than feeding like neighborhoods. So they wanted to do from East Templeton all the way to Ladder Hill Bridge. But again, the CDBG says that really doesn't meet the specs. So they wanted to replace water main on South Main Street. Nope, same thing. So they run into these technicalities. So if we could get a grant writing firm instead of just has been done in the past, citing hoopla about, oh, look at our pavement study. Look at all these road paved. Did we do any drainage? Did we replace any water mains? Did we do any sidewalks? Did we do anything under the road? And the answer is no. And we pave a road, and half of my road, they paved over existing pavement. Why? Well, budget says, this and that. The only half of the road that's got drainage, some of it's old country road drainage, it's over in the side of the road. A couple of them, if you didn't know they were there, they're buried in leaves. They're absolutely useless. But it's always come down to funding in Chapter 90, like Chapter 70 for the school aid, general state aid, the pilot for state-owned land. It's all antiquated. It doesn't cover nearly enough. And it's most of the funding that this town has to address its roads. So, again, those are all the reasons that I would like the mayor to come, and I hope this is something that we can, we can't afford not to do it. It would be a good sell, and they not only do grant writing, they do lobbying. And unfortunately, that's the system. You have to pay to play and pay to win. It's a fact. It just, it's like, hey, here's money for your reelection, blah, 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 whatever it is. And they sponsor the bill and you get the money. It's just the way it is. So unless anybody's objections, I'll contact the mayor and see what day he can come in. And like I said, he sent like 90% of the work, totally unexpected, very gracious of him, very thankful for that. So on that note, I would entertain a motion to adjourn
So moved.
at 8:33 p.m.
So move.
That's a record.